Hello everyone, Kristina here. Welcome to another live stream here at my YouTube channel. I apologize for starting just a few minutes late. I wanted to update the supply list with the supplies that I have planned for tonight, so that if any of you have questions about colors I'm using or products I'm using, you can go to the link down the video description and you can see the supplies right away. I probably forgot a few supplies there because I was obviously doing it at the last minute, but hopefully it will have everything you have questions about. Before we get started, I just want to let you guys know that next week's live stream will not be happening. I'm going to be traveling that day and I will be arriving right at home about the time that I should be going live normally. So there will not be a live next week. I hope to share a video the following day on Tuesday of next week. In the meantime, but there will not be a live next week. So I will miss you all, but I'll be traveling next week. So for tonight's project, I thought I would recreate a card with different colors that I shared for my January 2026 release. I had to think hard. I'm like, January or February? No, January. February release has not happened yet. Okay, so let's switch to the overhead here. Oh, I guess I can have myself in the corner. Hello. So I thought we would recreate this card right here. It was one of my favorites from the release. I just thought it was so adorable. So we're going to create a plaid using different colors. I wanted it to be more reds and pinks. So we're basically going to be recreating this, but in different colors. So here we go. Let's do this thing. First off, I did a little test run trying to test out some colors for the plaid. This is not the colors I'm going for. I'm actually going to be doing kind of a variation of these over here. I was just trying to figure it out. So the actual colors, well, I take that back. Let's take a look at the stencil first. I'm too excited. I'm skipping steps. Okay, so this is the Plaid Perfection stencil pack. And I've wanted to do a plaid stencil like this for a long time. The closest I ever got to it was I had a plaid stencil that came out, I think it was a couple Christmases ago, a couple months into my collection at Concord and 9th. And it was one where you had to rotate the stencil and you built your own plaid or whatever. Well, this one, you don't have to rotate your stencil, but it does have the teeny tiniest of a learning curve. I'm going to walk you through it. It's super easy. So for my stenciling, I'm going to use a grip mat just because it makes it so much easier, I promise. If you don't have a grip mat, I highly recommend this one from Altenew. It's their 9x12 mat. Basically, what you're going to do, and I'm going to show you on the stencil itself, in the bottom corner of each stencil, do you see where it says right here, color 1 dark? It's a little bit hard to see. Some people like to take a dark pigment ink or something and fill in, so you can see a little bit better, which you definitely can. You could also just use a marker and write on it. But you basically have a color 1 dark, and then you have color 1 light, and then color 1 light. So I want you to see these right here. There's color 1 light, color 1 light. There's 2 color 1 light stencils and 1 color 1 dark. Okay. And then you have the same thing happening, but with color 2. So we've got color 2 dark. See that down there? Color 2 dark. And then you have 2 stencils that both say color 2 light. So if you want to have a combination of colors, for example, I'll show you this one right here. On this card, the 2 groupings were pinks and oranges. So for the 2 colors, I had wild berry and pink lemonade. So that was the dark color 1 and the light color 2. And then for the oranges, I had nectar, or well, I should say the dark color is sorbet, and the nectar is the light color. So you basically want two groups of colors and you want a dark and a light in each group. Okay. I'll show you some more examples of finished plaid patterns once we have the plaid done. Okay, so for my plaid, because I wanted to make it more reds and pinks, for my dark shades, let me grab this. Not dark, but I should just say for my group 1, for my color 1, I have cranberry and watermelon. And then my second group is poppy and ballet slipper. So it's lots of reds, a couple of pinks. And just to keep it interesting, I'm going to be using ballet slipper cardstock. This is going to give it a complete color look. And if you notice on the card that I'm mimicking or making a version of, the plaid is at a diagonal. So that means I need to make sure that I do a full sheet, the full stencil design. If I didn't want it to be at a diagonal, I could actually get 2 card fronts out of this one stenciling, which is kind of great. Okay, so I've got my ballet slipper cardstock here. Just press that down onto my grip mat. And we're going to start with the color 1 grouping. So these 3 stencils, and I like to start with the dark color and then go to the light color. And the only thing you have to remember is that there's 2 stencils for the light color. Just always do what it says in the bottom corner and you'll be fine. All right, so I'm going to take the color 1 dark stencil and I'm going to kind of get it right up there at the top. Actually, yeah, that's fine. We're going to put it right up here. I just want to make sure that it extends to the bottom of the cardstock. And I also want to have enough space around the edge that I can press the stencil down, just so it doesn't move around. You know what I'm saying? All right, I'm going to be using the center alignment guides for the stamp wheel just to mark the corners of my stencil here. So these are from Altenew. I think they're fairly inexpensive, but this is just going to help me get my plaid lined up every time really easily. In fact, you could probably get away with just having one. You get an idea. It's going to look the same down here in this bottom corner. Okay. Or I guess I could just take me off screen. Maybe I'll just do that. There we go. You guys don't need to see the top of my head while I'm ink blending, do you? Okay, so I've got these 2 little L brackets down to my grip mat. And this is color 1 dark. So remember, our color 1 grouping is cranberry and watermelon, and cranberry is the dark color. So I'm starting with cranberry. I'm going to take my blending brush. This is a mini blending brush from Altenew. And I'm just going to start. Oh, hello. My stencil started moving. Let's take care of that. You know what? I'm going to do that. I think that would be a smart move. Just take a little bit off each edge. Okay, let's try that again. Oh yeah, this will give me some room to really stick this down so it doesn't move. Perfect. We're just troubleshooting. If you are doing the full sheet, like you want to get 2 out of the sheet, 2 A2 card fronts, it is possible. I've done it. For whatever reason, this doesn't want to stick right now. Okay, so back to stenciling with cranberry. And this really just takes a little bit of time. In fact, you know what? Since I'm live here, we're going to be eventually cutting this out with this stencil right here, or not stencil, but die. And it's going to be like right there. So maybe I'll just like only do that section. Does that make sense? So let's just go ahead and draw some little lines here. We just have to make sure that gives us a good little rectangle. We know that we need to be in that area. This is going to save us a little bit of time because we do have to go over each one of these squares, and it can take a little bit of time. Okay. All right. So when I'm doing these plaids, especially with like dark colors like this, I like to wipe the stencil with a microfiber cloth before I remove it, because that gets off quite a bit of the ink. And then I only have to spritz it with my alcohol and just clean it from here. Okay, so I'm going to line this up here. I'm also kind of eyeballing what I've already stenciled to make sure that it lines up correctly. But if it overlaps a little bit, it's not a huge deal. I think it kind of lends itself. In fact, you know what? I kind of want to slide this down a little. I want to get that positioned just a little bit better. Okay. About like that. All right. So now we're on to color 1 light, which is watermelon. Oh my word, there's so much ink in this brush. All right, and we'll just come in with watermelon. I can still kind of see the pencil lines that I drew on earlier through the stencil. Especially for like these little areas right here. A smaller blending brush really works well. Okay, I think I see a pencil line right there. Okay. Wipe this with my rag here. In fact, while I have the stencil off right now, let's go ahead and just draw those pencil lines a little bit better. So that I know exactly where I'm ink blending. All right, this is the second of the 2 color 1 light stencils. Just trying to get it on here just right. All right, still using watermelon. And now I have those pencil lines on, so I know exactly where I need to go. Okay. So there's all of the watermelon. We did 2 of the light shade. And you can start to see the plaid forming. Right now it looks weird, like a, oh my gosh, who's that famous artist who does the paintings with just the squares of color? So I'll have to fix that. Okay, so now we're on to color 2, and I want the color 2 dark stencil. You guys see that down there? Color 2 dark. There we go. Now you can see it. Color 2 dark. Mandarin. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. That's the name I was thinking. All right. Getting this lined up just right. And we're moving on to the second set. So I've got Poppy and Ballet Slipper. So Poppy is first, and my Poppy is fairly juicy. Oh, I don't need that corner. I forgot. We're only going to the pencil. Get a little bit over to that corner. And I think that will do it for the Poppy. So I'll just wipe this with the rag. Oh, I love it. It's come together so great. All right, cleaning my stencil. And now I'm going to move on to the 2 color 2 light colors. Let's see. Holly says, I've always been curious about your design process. Do your ideas come mostly as a result of a need you see for yourself, or do you design more based on a request from C9? Concord and Ninth does not, like as a company, they are very hands-off. They do not request products from me or give me ideas or whatever. It is purely all from my head, which is kind of nice. It's been really fun. Oh, what do I use to clean? Isopropyl alcohol that I put in a little spray bottle. This is from Altenew. The only thing I clean with the alcohol is my stencils. I don't use it for anything else. Specifically, do not use it for your stamps because the alcohol will wear down your stamps, so you don't want to use it on your stamps. I did spray a stamp with it once on accident, and I was like, oh no, I've committed the cardinal sin. Like, don't do it. But yeah, anyway, that was just random. Okay, ooh, my pencil is smudging right there. All right, so now I'm using Ballet Slipper over these areas, and it will dry back a little bit. So it might look a little intense now, but... Oh, Dana, thank you. Sally is a new member as well. Dana just texted me. Thank you, Dana. Welcome, Sally. That's so awesome. The other thing that's kind of fun if you sign up at the Supporter Plus level is that I have a special Google form to submit your addresses for the Supporter Plus mail art. So your chances of being chosen for an envelope are higher because it's only Supporter Plus members that have access to that form to submit their name. And I do verify that they are Supporter Plus members before I use their address. All right, so there's the first light, the Color 2 light stencil. Oh, this is gonna be really cute. I wasn't sure how this would work out with these different colors because you just don't know sometimes, but I think this is gonna look great. Okay, so here's the second Color 2 light stencil. Getting that stuck down. Kathy says, I sprayed alcohol on a stamp once too. I panicked and ran to the bathroom to rinse it off. I had visions of it melting away. You know, I don't think it immediately harms the stamp. I just think over time, if you keep using it to clean the stamp, it might. I don't even remember what stamp it was that I cleaned it out. It may have been a background stamp of some sort. We're about to have a plaid reveal here. I love it. Got a little bit of ink bleeding right there, just in those corners. So this is my Essentials die set. I'm not sure if they're restocked. I don't think they're restocked yet, but we're going to do some cutting of our little pattern here that we've created. So I'll just use my Griffin Empress machine. And we're going to use the little wonky scalloped piece here. Let's put that right there. Run that through my die cut machine. Oh, that's a good point from Leanne. The plaid reminds her of those plastic picnic tablecloths. It's kind of true. Okay, stop it. That's so cute. You know what I want to do? I want to add little white hearts in the centers of those. Wouldn't that be so cute? If I didn't already have a plan for like what I was doing for this card, I would do that because I think that's adorable. And now I'm going to stamp my greeting, and then we're going to be die cutting it and stacking it up so that it's on, you know, like a good substantial layer. So the stamp sets that I'm going to be using for my greeting is the Love and Adore You stamps. We're going to do the Love You, mostly because on my card that I'm recreating, I did Adore You. So I kind of wanted to change it up. Let's do Love You instead. And I'm going to be stamping the Love You in Cranberry. I'm going to do that in Cranberry. Might have to stamp it a couple of times to get it super solid. Yeah, I totally missed inking up the center of the stamp. That's cute. You know what? I've got like a hair or something. Where is it? It's probably a cat hair, because that would track about right. It's totally a cat hair. You guys can't see it. That's a Fred fur. All right, I'm just gonna rotate my cardstock here, just because I could see the line of it right down there. It was bugging me. So I'll just stamp this once again. All right, that's pretty solid, but I'm going to stamp it one more time. Lyrical Wonders asks, I noticed that many crafters are using the Empress die cutting machine. Would you still recommend the Gemini? I did like the Gemini. I had one for a couple of years. I would recommend the Empress over the Gemini if you are trying to figure out an electronic die cutting machine to get. Mostly because the Empress, for one thing, it has a larger opening and you can turn the mat or whatever. It can go through on the short end or the long end. I believe the Gemini, there is only one direction. And also the magnetic mat on the Empress is a little stronger and you can cut directly into it. And also the cutting plates don't warp. They can warp the teeny tiniest a bit over time, but like such a small amount that it doesn't bother me at all. And the plates warping and all that were it's one of my pet peeves from die cutting and why I did not like to die cut for so many years. So I really highly recommend the Empress. And some people call it the Empress. I say Empress because my machine's a pretty princess. And she's an Empress. Okay, so we're going to break out the stamps here in a minute. In fact, let's just go ahead and stamp the secondary greeting while I have it out, my MISTI out. So I have some Cranberry cardstock here, and it says, love you. I think I'm going to have it say Happy Galentine's Day. I think that would be really fun. All right, I'm using some anti-static powder. And then I'm going to stamp in white pigment ink. I'm going to do white embossing powder. So I've really loved using pigment ink for this because I can really see where it's stamped. This is a very dainty greeting, so I'm going to try to not blob out the stamps. Okay, that looks perfect. So this is Alabaster embossing powder from Brutus Monroe. And I like to let it just sit for a beat, and then I like to kind of tap it and make sure it kind of goes a few different directions. I think that encourages it to catch every little angle of that stamping. That was where I was holding it with my fingers. All right. I'm going to let my heat tool heat up just a little bit. Okay. Just it'll make it melt things faster. Okay. All right, did I get all of that? I think I did. Wow, that is like one of the cleanest, like most crisp heat embossings I've done in a long time. Look how clean that is. It caught every single bit of the letters. Yeah, I'm just, I feel like I was doing like greeting heat embossing like this for so many years and they were never that crisp. I think it's the combination of the powder tool and just like any powder and not being afraid to have tons of powder, because you can very easily get rid of any powder remaining just with a microfiber cloth. You just wipe it away. And if you still have some left, you can use your fingers and the oils from your hands will attract that powder and get rid of it. And for so many years, I didn't want to use too much anti-static powder because I didn't know that it could just come off with a microfiber cloth, you know? Yeah, or let it marinate first. Shimmy, shimmy. Yes, Dana. And you know what? And that tip's from Dana. From, oh, what class was that? Was that a holiday class at OCC? I can't remember. But Dana, like, I just watched her do her heat embossing and I was like, this is a revelation. Like, I'd never thought about making sure that, like, the powder has a chance to get all the different edges, you know, just blows my mind. Okay, so that's the Love You. And then I'm going to use this larger one right here for the Happy Valentine's Day. So I'm just going to get this lined up. This is another one of those times when I am so happy with how strong the magnetic mat and the Empress is, because I rarely tape dies to my cardstock anymore because the dies just don't move. You know what I'm saying? All right. Sometimes I will if I'm like really nervous that something could shift, but I haven't in a long time, very rarely. And I was just waiting for this to be the one time when it shifts, as I'm talking about how it doesn't shift. But no, we're good. Oh, I forgot. I need to cut out a couple hearts here. We're going to cut out the 2 solid hearts. Just those little guys. So I'll have one more. Oh my word, I have a little bit of ink. Do you guys see there's like a little ghosting of ink? I think the cranberry ink was very wet and I totally smudged it. But you know what? I'm not going to worry about it. Before I do any more smudging of it, I might be able to clean it up with a sand eraser here in a minute. Okay. While I'm doing all this die cutting, I need to cut out some more of this so I can pop it up on my card. You could also just use foam adhesive, but I really like the substantial look of that. You know what? Putting our card together. Let's see here. Let's stack these real quick. And this goes really, really quickly. I will show you how fast you can stack these. I love this tip. It came from Corin Wiskman in another online card class. And I was like, what now? This is how you can stack your layered die cuts so quickly. I'm like, holy crap. Okay. So, you just have to work fairly quickly. I'm going to add, and you use liquid glue. All right, and you apply it to all of your die cuts except the one that goes on top. And then you stack them all at the same time, and the liquid glue is still wet enough that you can manipulate things and get it going just fine. Okay, so stack, stack. See how messy I'm stacking them right now? Doesn't even matter because I'm gonna fix it here. Okay, then you can use your fingers and kind of catch the edge and get them all stacked up. Look how fast that was. I'm gonna put a paperweight right on top just to have it hold there for a moment. And while that dries, in fact, I'll move it off the screen a little bit. I'm gonna take my little plaid pattern, look at that difference in color, and I'm gonna put some foam behind it. Let me grab my foam tape. Putting some nice wide foam tape on the back here. I am not shy when it comes to foam adhesive because when I send this card through the mail, I don't want the center of it caving in. I think Mary Berry, if she was a card maker, she would say no soggy middles, saggy middles, no saggy middles. All right, Y'all, we're gonna have this card made in under an hour. My husband's gonna be so happy because we'll have dinner a little bit earlier tonight. Okay, perfect. I mean, it is a little wonky. It doesn't have to be. Like, perfect, perfect. Okay, so now I'm gonna take that Love You and put it right there. Some liquid glue. Add it to the back here. And here's the card that we're making a new version of. And this one's going to go, the Love You. Well, first of all, the Happy Galentine's Day is going to have to go over here. So I do need it to be a little bit off center. So we'll move it up there a little bit too. Okay. And then this Happy Galentine's Day can go right there. All right. All right, and so then I've got these two hearts. Okay. I like that. That's cute. So here's the finished card for today. In total, it took me about 50 to 55 minutes to finish this card. So fast and easy. It worked up really, really quick. Once again, the products I used today is the, let's see, Plaid Perfection. I think that's what it's called. Yeah, Plaid Perfection Stencil Pack with the Love and Adore You stamps and dies. And the little wonky little frame was, or the rectangle was cut using my Kristina's Essentials dies. So let's look at some other examples of the plaid stencils in use. So here's another one. I shared it at the beginning as well. And remember, there are two groups or two colors that you use. There's a color 1 and a color 2. So on this plaid, the color 1 was Wild Berry, the color 1 dark. The color 1 light was Pink Lemonade. This is on Ballet Slipper cardstock, by the way. And then the two oranges, the dark is Sorbet and the light is Nectar. All right, over here, this was done on powder cardstock, so a very pale blue. It's the same blue that's on the card base. And the colors here, like, so the two dark colors were Midnight and Juniper, and then there was a lighter version. So a lighter blue, which is Harbor, and then a lighter green, which is Tide Pool. So just a fun grouping of colors. And then for this card, this one was on Harbor cardstock. And this one used, let's see, Blueberry ink and Harbor ink. And I just used the Blueberry for both colors for the dark. And then I used Harbor for both colors for the light. But there you go, perfect. All right, so just want to show those other examples of the plaid. Thank you so much for joining me for tonight's live. And just a reminder, I will not be live next Monday night. So I will see you in 2 weeks for my regular live stream. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll catch you guys next time.